More than 2,000 years ago, on the shores of the Mediterranean Sea, a city rose that would change the history of human knowledge. Its name was Alexandria. The city was founded by one of the most famous conquerors in history, Alexander the Great. Alexander dreamed of building a city that would unite the cultures of the world, but he died before that dream could fully take shape. After his death, one of his generals seized control of Egypt. His name was Ptolemy Soter. Ptolemy had a different kind of ambition. He did not want only military power. He wanted something far greater. He wanted knowledge. Ptolemy imagined a place where scholars from every civilization could gather. A place where the wisdom of the entire world could be collected. A place where ideas would not simply survive, but grow. And so he ordered the creation of what would become the most famous library in human history, the Library of Alexandria. The Library of Alexandria was not just a building filled with books. It was the center of an enormous intellectual institution known as the Mautian. The Mautian functioned like the first great university of the ancient world. Scholars lived there. They studied together. They debated ideas, and they wrote new works that would shape the future. But the heart of it all was the library itself. Inside its halls were thousands upon thousands of papyrus scrolls. Each scroll contained knowledge gathered from distant lands: Egypt, Greece, Babylon, Persia, India. Some historians believe the library may have held between 400,000 and 700,000 scrolls, an unimaginable treasure of knowledge. But collecting these scrolls required unusual methods. Whenever ships arrived in Alexandria's harbor, officials searched them for books. Any scrolls found were taken to the library. Scribes carefully copied them. The copies were returned to the ships. But the originals remained in Alexandria. Over time, the city became the greatest archive of human knowledge the world had ever seen. Within the walls of the library worked some of the most brilliant minds of the ancient world. One of them was Eratosthenes. Eratosthenes made a discovery that amazed future generations. He calculated the circumference of the earth, and he did it more than 2,000 years ago. Using only shadows, geometry, and careful observation, he produced a measurement astonishingly close to the modern value. Another scholar was Euclid. His work on geometry would shape mathematics for centuries. Students across the world still study his ideas today. Then there was Archimedes. Though he lived in another city, his writings were studied in Alexandria. The library became the crossroads of ancient science. Astronomy, mathematics, medicine, philosophy, geography, all of it passed through the halls of Alexandria. For centuries, the library stood as the brightest center of learning on Earth. But history rarely allows greatness to last forever. By the 1st century BC, the Mediterranean world had changed. A new power was rising: Rome. The Roman Republic was expanding rapidly across the ancient world, and soon its political struggles reached Egypt. In 48 BC, the Roman general Julius Caesar arrived in Alexandria during a violent civil war. The conflict became known as the Siege of Alexandria. Caesar found himself trapped in the city by enemy forces. To escape the harbor blockade, he ordered ships in the port to be burned, but the fire spread. Flames moved from the docks into parts of the city. Ancient writers later claimed that the flames reached warehouses containing thousands of scrolls. Some say 40,000 scrolls were lost. Others say even more. Historians still debate how much of the library was destroyed in that fire. But one thing is certain: the library had been wounded, and its decline had begun. Contrary to popular belief, The Library of Alexandria was probably not destroyed in a single dramatic event. Instead, its destruction likely happened slowly, over centuries. Political changes weakened the institutions that once supported the library. Wars damaged the city. Religious conflicts reshaped society. By the 3rd century AD, Alexandria had become a battleground again. During Roman conflicts, parts of the city were devastated. Later, in the 4th century, rising tensions between pagan traditions and Christianity led to violent struggles. Temples were destroyed. Institutions connected to older traditions disappeared. Some scholars believe the last remnants of the library vanished during these turbulent centuries. Others think it may have survived in smaller forms for longer. But by the early Middle Ages, the great library was gone. When the Library of Alexandria disappeared, something profound was lost. Thousands of ancient works vanished with it. Many books that existed nowhere else. Historians often wonder what knowledge may have been contained in those scrolls, lost histories, forgotten scientific discoveries, ancient philosophies, medical knowledge from civilizations long gone. Entire fields of thought may have disappeared. Imagine if even a fraction of that knowledge had survived. How different might the world be today? Some believe humanity may have lost centuries of scientific progress. Others argue that knowledge has a way of resurfacing. But the truth is impossible to know, because the scrolls are gone. Even after its destruction, the Library of Alexandria continued to live on in legend. Writers throughout history spoke about it with awe. It became a symbol of humanity's endless desire to learn, but also a warning. Knowledge can be fragile. Civilizations rise, they flourish, they collect wisdom, and then, sometimes, they fall. The story of Alexandria reminds us that knowledge must be protected, because once it disappears, it may never return. Today, modern libraries and digital archives hold more information than the scholars of Alexandria could ever imagine, yet the lesson of the ancient library remains powerful. Knowledge is one of humanity's greatest treasures, but it is also vulnerable. The scrolls of Alexandria were written by some of the brightest minds of the ancient world, and yet, most of them are gone, lost to time, lost to fire, lost to history. And so the story of the Library of Alexandria remains one of the greatest mysteries of the ancient world, a place where humanity once gathered its wisdom, and where, one day, much of that wisdom vanished into the flames. If you have learned a point from this video, just appreciate. Subscribe to this channel for more stories that will expand your knowledge.